This is some type of weird package that's taped up quite nicely. But then I had an aha moment and I remembered this has to be from Indiegogo. So let's go ahead, unwrap this, check out what this is, and then we'll talk about it. Let's do this! So yes, this is definitely a package from Indiegogo, so let's go ahead and take a look at the specs. Now I did end up getting two of these. One is a black colored fan and the other one is white, along with two extra filters. Taking a look at the filters, it actually looks like it's designed quite nicely and built pretty sturdy. You're going to want to keep these clean, and they even have instructions, and take a look at that. You can actually place this in the dishwasher, so that's pretty cool. Now to finally open up the box, I have this NexFan card, and it's pretty much how to get in contact with them. Flipping the card over gives you some info on the indicator lights as well as the physical buttons on the fan. Pulling the unit out, it is actually very light, surprisingly. Next, you get a product guide, so keep this nearby just in case you have some issues or questions. Next up, they give you a micro USB to A cable. Too bad it's not type C, but nonetheless the cable is extra long. If you go ahead and pull this out a little bit, this is where the filter is housed. So this is the exact same filter as I showed you at the beginning of the video. Here is everything that you get inside of the box. Removing the lid in this area right here is where the water and or ice would go. Now you don't necessarily need to remove the lid to add water. When you're only adding water, you can go ahead and pour it from here. Moving towards the back of the unit, you'll notice that there's the micro USB port there. This unit has to always have power. There is no rechargeable battery on the unit, so be aware of that. Going towards the bottom, there are 4 rubber feet to prevent slipping. Now back to the front, you'll notice this little tab will help for the direction of the airflow up or down and adjust it how you need it. Pulling this out again, this is where the filter will be housed, so you make sure you place it in correctly and you slide the drawer back in. Now to grab a battery pack so we can plug this up and kind of get started and see how this operates. So I'm just using a battery pack. We'll plug it in, and then we'll go ahead and press one of the buttons. So the button on the right is the fan, and as you hear, this is the highest speed of the fan, and you hear it right here. It's pretty loud. So now I'll pretty much cycle through the different speeds so you can get a feel for how loud this is going to be if you have this kind of on your nightstand or something like that. The left button is what you press to get the different color LED lights, and so I'll go ahead and cycle through them. There are about 7 different color lights, and you can go ahead and set it to whatever you need, or you can actually completely turn it off if that's not something that you want on. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually soaking the filter as it's suggested in the manual, and after soaking I'm going to place it in the freezer. Believe it or not, I'm trying to get the coolest air that I can get, so I'll leave this in the freezer, let it get chilled for a little bit, and go back to it. So now it's been probably about 3 hours because honestly I forgot that the filter was in there, but it's all good. I will place the frozen filter inside of the drawer, and I will close the drawer gently. Now what I'm going to do is add water at the top of the unit. Remember, you don't need to take the lid off to put the water in, but what you'll need to do is take the lid off if you want to go ahead and add ice. So here I'm adding ice, and I will add just enough ice cubes to not overfill the compartment. Okay, so the NexFan is actually running. It's on. It does feel cool from where I'm standing about maybe 3 feet away. Taking the temperature of the unit, I'm getting a reading about 57.5 degrees Fahrenheit. If I aim it at the window, you see 76. So yeah, it is cooler. It's not air conditioning cold, but standing, like I said, now about 3 feet away, I could actually still feel the fan at the high speed, and it's cool. So here again are the different color LED lights if you want. I think it would be kind of bright if you were to have this on while you're trying to sleep, but to each his own. You do have the option again to turn it off if you don't want the lights on. All right, so I did put the NexFan to use last night, and I used it all night, and I left it exactly where you see it here on my nightstand. But what I did was I turned it a little towards the bed, and I have to actually give you the negative and the downside about this first. That would be the noise level of the fan. Having it on the highest speed, of course, it is loud, but even having it on the middle speed is still loud. So it's a bit of a distraction when you're trying to sleep. So that is a big downside. Next, I want to say that the fan, it does that. It's a fan, but as far as actually cooling the room down by the 5 degrees that they claim that it does, I'm not really seeing it, to be honest. When I first turned it on after having it frozen, filter, and then the ice, I did feel cool, like a nice burst of cool, but only for a few seconds. Having it running all night, I'm going to say, to me, honestly, it just felt like a fan. I couldn't really even tell the difference as far as if it did make the room cooler, because to be honest, I just wasn't feeling it. Well, that just about wraps it up for this video. I want to thank you all for taking the time to chill with me as we go through this journey. And until next time, everyone, I want you all to have a spectacular day. Later.